boys and girls. Once again, I am Mrs. Marina Sattler, the Gifted and Enrichment Specialist at Mary Hall, and welcome to our final episode of our CogAT segment. So, we're going to talk about what happens the third day of testing, and that is the Nonverbal CogAT test. It has 3 subsections: figure matrices, which is going to remind you of the analogies, paper folding, and figure classification. So the cool thing about the nonverbal test is that it does not contain any words or numbers. It's all pictorial. So what does it measure? It's going to measure your problem solving and reasoning abilities through the use of visual and spatial based questions. So again, this is a test of how well you can figure things out. You will not know all of the answers, so try to figure out as many as you can. I know we keep saying that. It's what makes it special, this test. Remember, and it's also timed. So the first part, the first section of the third day is the figure matrices. And it's going to remind you of analogies where you have to look at the first 2 boxes. So I'm going to get my whiteboard here and select a pen color. I think I feel like purple, because purple is my favorite color. So we'll do purple. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is I'm looking at these first 2 boxes, and I'm trying to figure out how are they related to each other. So I notice that they each have the same figures, but they're not in the same order. So if I notice, I have 2 blues, 1 yellow, and 1 red, and so I have to figure out how are those related. So it looks to me like they took the red rhombus and the pentagon and they flipped them. So I'm looking at this little section right here. So if I flip those, then the red rhombus goes to the bottom and the pentagon goes to the top. So now I'll look at this over here, and if I were to follow the same thing, that means that I need then to move the red triangle above, and so I'm going to clear my board so you can see. So I'm going to take this shape and swap it with the one above it. So that means that the circle and the blue shape below it stay the same. So that means that this one is a possibility, but now I need to flip those 2. So then this one goes up and that one goes to the bottom. And so C would be the right one. Sorry for my messy workspace. But all of this it's going to take place up here because we're not going to be writing in the book. You're actually going to use an answer document. So I'm just showing you where my eyes are going and how I'm thinking, but I'm not actually going to write in the book. And so that's something that I probably should have mentioned before, but now we know. We don't write in the book, we only write in an answer document, and you'll get to practice with that with your teacher. So let's see what comes up next. So let me go to our next picture. Okay, so then we have figure classification. Okay, so this kind of also reminds me of a part of the verbal test where you had to figure out which word belonged with the group, not the name of the group. So in this case, what I need to see is what is the relationship between the first 3 shapes. And so I can see when I look at these 3, what's the same? They're all a rhombus, right? So now, and then they're filled with different, actually some are not even filled at all. But the important thing is, how are they all alike? They're all a rhombus. So I'm going to look at my choices, and guess what? There's only one that's a rhombus. So that one can actually move and belong to the group. So I'm going to clear the board. We're going to go to the, excuse me, we're going to go to the next one. The next one is paper folding. And this is my favorite one. And again, you have to just use your imagination because we don't get paper and we don't get a pair of scissors to act it out. You have to do it up here. And so the first above the line is going to show you how are you going to fold the paper. So they show you the orientation of the paper, how many times they're going to fold it, and then where they're going to make the cut. The question for you is, what is the paper going to look like when they open it back up? And so if you notice, let me get my whiteboard. If you notice, they cut this section off here, right? But they folded the paper. So that means that they cut 2 layers of the paper. So this part right here is a fold. And so we're looking at, this one can be the answer. You know why? Because they cut both of the layers, right? And so it would need to have a cut. This one is in the center. No, that's not going to work. 3, no. So this is going to be your best choice, because when you open the paper, it's going to have the cut on the top and on the bottom. It's going to be, those are going to be the missing sections. Okay. So again, you just use your imagination for that. You can't have scissors. Okay, let me go on to the last one. So this is a mixed practice that we have here. Again, it's going to show you the 3 subsections. So we have the analogies or the matrix at the top. And so again, what we're looking for is what's the relationship between the first 2 items. So we have a light blue, looks like a donut, right? It looks like a blue donut and a black donut. So what happened was they changed colors, right? So went from blue to black. So then the rhombus is going to go from blue to black. And I'm sure you guys were thinking of that as well, right? So on the next one right here, we're trying to figure out which one of these shapes belongs with the group above. So we have a red, blue, and yellow circle. Pretty easy, right? Which one would belong with the group above? And I know everybody's thinking the blue circle needs to pack up and move up here. That's true. All right, so moving on to the next one. So again, we have these 3 shapes. Your job is to figure out, how do they go together? What's the relationship? Why do they belong to in the same group? And so you're going to find that we have a circle inside of a square, triangle inside of a circle, and a square inside of a triangle. So what that tells me is that we don't have the same shape inside of itself. So for example, here we have a square and inside of a square. Well, none of these are the same. So I know that's not going to be a good choice. But here we have a triangle inside of a triangle. Well, we can't have the same shape inside of itself. So can't do it. Same thing here. But look at this one. It's a circle and it has a triangle inside of it. That would be the best choice. And I know what you're thinking. It's already there. Yes, but it also follows the rule. It means that the inside shape and the outside shape cannot be the same. Whereas in all of these other examples, the inside and the outer shape are the same. So in this case, this is the one that follows the rule and would move above. Finally, we have another paper folding example. And so again, it's going to walk you through and it's going to show you how they're folding the paper. This is the full size paper. Then they are going to fold it and they're going to make a hole. They just made one hole, but remember they folded the paper in half, so there's 2 layers of the paper. If they were to fold it again, now then we're thinking 4 layers, but in this case it's just 2 layers. So that means that we need 2 holes, right? So immediately I know it cannot be this one or that one, because those only have 1 hole. And then we have our next one. So it's between this one and this one. So it looks like the hole is in the center of the half. So this one looks like it's on the edge, and this one looks like it's more on the center. So this is going to be our best choice. These little holes are too close to the edge. whereas this over here it's in the center of this section. All right, so again, the nonverbal, that's kind of a fun one because it's all puzzles that you get to figure out by yourself. And you get to show us how good you are at figuring things out. All right, boys and girls, so like I said, this is the final segment for the CogAT test. I wish you the best. Remember to use the power of not yet so that you don't get frustrated, that you do try your best to not get stuck on one for too long, because remember, you haven't been taught everything in this test. So you might have to just do the best that you can and then move on, because like I mentioned before, they're not in order from easy to most difficult or most difficult to easiest. They're in random order. So you don't want to miss an opportunity of getting some right because you got stuck on one. All right. So again, I wish you the best, and I'll be seeing you around. Take care.